there he is, okay. Yeah. Absent of him last episode, it does kind of build anticipation for it. You know, to see him again. I'm kind of waiting for him to reveal himself. 7 months, okay. The kid underneath. There must be a lot of anger.
Do you work here?
Social worker?
I'm a visitor.
So has he been incarcerated?
So you're coming up on the cameras?
Creep. It's also very interesting actually, that lift scene there. The line said to her immediately, do you work here? Why are you asking? That's a weird question. You know, kind of the undertone almost of like, you're attractive. Do you work here? Can we have a conversation? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the sort of question that generally people will ask people in lifts. I do feel like gender, again, was involved. Small as that might be. I made a little jokey joke there about him being a creep. Weird. Though, is there going to be something with this lady here to that effect? Is that her representation?
So you're coming up on the cameras?
I will say it again just in case new people are just tuning in, didn't see my first 2 episodes, I mentioned it in those, I'll mention it again just very briefly. Those 2 things that I just mentioned, in a general sense, nothing wrong with them, but I feel like this show is very much putting a microscope on gender, how women are treated, how men are treated, how that dynamic is in society. And so as this is a show that is written specifically to demonstrate things, that is why I'm kind of coming at it through that kind of lens.
Is that relevant to what you'll assess?
Oh, assess.
I'll fire up the megapod.
Has he been violent?
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet. I don't know if that's relevant. What I think and observe is relevant to what you assess.
Alright, buddy. You keep saying that. It's weird. If that's relevant. I will just say, before I let my live in the moment thoughts play out, that it does come across from him as seeking validation. Speaks to an insecurity in the way he repeats himself here. It's clear to me now, because of what happens later in how he thinks of himself as akin to her as a psychologist. More on that later. And he's seeking that validation here in the way he wants her to say what he has to say is relevant. He's trying to lead her there, trying to make her say that in this repetition. Disrespect a little bit in that, if that's relevant. Kind of, he's not really taking her that seriously.
I read the report.
Both blame the other?
No, I know, I read the report.
Right, still being violent.
You can't say anymore. It's important. I don't know anything about what the other psychologist says, does, or thinks.
Right, he's been quite informal, using his station and being unprofessional, right, in a place of authority, which is something we do keep seeing. And in regard to children, you know, he's not taking it seriously. She is. And we saw that last episode too. The women kind of taking all of this a bit more seriously, being a lot more professional, but not being given the respect. We're kind of seeing it in this scene too.
It's about making the right assessment, not the fastest.
Nice, yeah. Competent.
Sorry, I'm just being an idiot.
No, that's just the way I work.
Okay. No, him taking a little bit on himself, fair enough. I feel like it is important to mention that in that room there, and he brought it back in, sorry I'm being an idiot. I mean, and yeah, that's a common tactic sometimes with men who feel like they've been attacked or validly just reproved, right, by a woman. And then they kind of go internal and go like, oh, yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? And this is my point. It kind of goes so far that like she had to step in and say to him, and like comfort him, even though he was being disrespectful and unprofessional. And it's like, that's not her job. And for him to kind of, do you know what I mean? Again, all of this is subtle stuff. It doesn't necessarily, if this happens out in the world, it doesn't necessarily mean all the things that I'm saying. It just, in this show, I just think it does. But there's another layer to that, at least to me, to my interpretation. I think that there is a representation, I think, in this TV show of none of these people are necessarily bad people. They've just been raised in certain ways, but it does, you know, this misogyny, lack of respect, giving a respect, whatever, however you've been raised, it is so subconscious. We're not always in charge of how it makes us feel and when it rears its head. And him kind of actually, you know, reeling it in a little bit, there is an intent there on his part to be like, I messed up, that's my bad, which is fair, do you know what I mean? And I feel like that is in line with that balancing of that kind of, okay, everyone's kind of at fault here in some way, but they're also not. This is social. You know, these things have been done to us, you know, from the generation before, parents, whatever. Not to justify it, just to identify it so that we can unpick it. Very particular, mate. Hey, that's a lot. Is that sugar? Hey, me and you both, dude.
Yeah, we've got a torture lab in the basement.
He likes his hot chocolate with marshmallows on.
Oh, it's marshmallow. I'm so sorry. Hold on, coffee and sugar, man. I'm so sorry. I do think that him making light of that, we've got a torture chamber in the basement. Haha. Yeah, fair enough. And again, he doesn't mean anything by it, but taking something very seriously, this is a serious place. An institution, and I appreciate you gotta, your day to day, you gotta keep it light, especially if you're in a place that's quite dark or deals with things that are very serious. I get it. We'll see as we go. What if we see more of this guy? How he is. But just because of the first scene as well and the way that he was kind of treating everything and that line, he's kind of continued. It's not just one incident. He is kind of making light of everything. It does start to beg the question a little bit in me. Is he going too far with that? Is he just not taking his role as a guardian figure here, an authority figure, as seriously as he should?
Likes his hot chocolate with marshmallows on. Yeah,
and she's kind of treating him like a kid. He was kind of detached in the way he talked about it when he was talking about like the two boys, Jamie and the other boy. He was like, they both said this, blah, blah, blah. There's a little bit of dehumanization, I think, in the way that he perhaps sees them. It feels like to me, again, I'll put a pin in that and we'll see as we go forward. But her just bringing marshmallows and a hot chocolate, he likes his marshmallows, is humanizing him, treating him like a human, which I think is what he needs. Again, perhaps just shows a little bit of disparity between how these two are treating Jamie and these kids, and perhaps what you can draw from that in regard to who's saying it and what their gender is.
Come on!
Hi, Jamie.
All right. Very interesting that he's talking to her and we are dealing with a foundational disrespect in Jamie. In regard to women, is he...
Hot chocolate. Sprinkles. Lots of them.
Is there an element of him fancying her? Maybe an inappropriate interpretation from his mind, from his perspective, as to this relationship. Maybe this element of... he can only possibly see women as one thing. That age-old kind of misogynistic thing of, women are only good for sex. They're only worth something to me if they're flirting with me. Look at the way he's looking at her here. I'm getting a little bit... Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I saved you half my sandwich in case you were hungry. What is it?
Really?
No salad. Would I do that to you?
Okay.
There's just cheese and pickle. Do you want it? I'll save it for later. No. I'll have it.
Feels like a weird dynamic, man. Is that the point?
Yes. You're looking better than last time. What's that supposed to mean?
Combative.
You sound like a granny.
Okay.
Do you see your grandparents much? Well, not recently, no. A bit. My dad's side. My dad's mum and dad's mum didn't get on with us.
Really? Interesting. Why didn't she get on with them? It's a very different kid, isn't it, from episode 1, which you can understand. Episode 1, we don't really see a lot of who he is. It's all reactive, which validly so, fairly so. But makes this episode so interesting, I think.
So what are your dad's parents like? Like him. What does that mean?
Good question.
You like things as you like them. No gravy. Such a shame.
Likes making fun of people, doesn't he?
You're posh.
What is the assessment? Is it to see how he behaves around her?
I'll have it later. It's just the pickle.
Pickle is God's food, my friend.
What's your dad and his dad like?
Men.
Well,
men. Okay.
Okay. Well, would masculine be an okay word to use?
Okay.
They like sports. They like going to the pub. Your dad doesn't go to the pub.
Yeah, she's very specifically drawing the conversation to masculinity. Very deftly kind of moved there. It's interesting because it's like, how does Jamie see it?
Sometimes in the week when mum and dad are both working, but that's more granny.
When they're both working, yeah. Not often there.
We went to Tenerife for them once. On holiday? No, banana picking.
He does that a lot, which is quite, he presents it in a very jovial way, but it is quite derisive. The way that he does it, the little voices that he does, it is kind of it's making fun of the other person. And I'm suddenly struck by the fact that obviously she's a woman. How is he? I mean, well, we've got it's difficult. Episode 1, it's difficult to kind of judge from that. He's very upset. He's not having a good time. Fair enough, right? The context of the situation is like marring, I suppose, how you could perhaps read it. But I suppose we do have a comparison on how he would be in regard to a man in an authority figure, because we had that in the police station, and he was much colder, closed off, respectful, didn't do any of this, right? Yeah, so it's like I get obviously these contexts are very different, but all the same.
When I hear the word masculine, would be the way that masculine...
Doubling down.
This all started because I said you sounded like a granny.
Yeah, sounded like a granny. Even that line is kind of steeped in misogyny. She sounded like a granny. Kind of, again, trying to poke fun. Why would that be poking fun? That's nothing to be poked fun about, right? This kid's doing great because I think, you're getting a lot of from his inflection in how he says things.
Now you're just going on about masculine stuff.
Caught that, huh?
It just feels like a trick.
Trick? Trick into what?
Clever kid. He knows what's going on because, I'm getting the impression that she is trying to subtly get stuff out of him, but also examine his behaviour and his responses.
My dad's okay. Just talking about him. There isn't a need.
Why?
But I'm not trying to trick you.
Now I've pissed you off.
Now I've pissed you off. His been going so quick to that as a response. It's quite insecure. And I wonder where he's got that from. And I mention it, I think, because from insecurity can come anger, feeling attacked, or feeling like someone doesn't like you, or that you've hurt someone and now they don't like you. The way that he said that, the words was steeped in so much. Now I've, you know what I mean, like kind of this happens a lot. Oh, I've seen this before. And going so quickly to that as well, it's almost a defense mechanism. Getting ahead of it before it can hurt him. Confronting it before he sees more that makes him feel insecure. And what is that? Vulnerability. He struggles with being vulnerable is what I would get from that. Which isn't a great stretch to kind of work out from, I think, episode 1, but just seeing it more overtly, I feel like.
Can I see what you wrote? What you've written?
Yeah, it's funny, innit? And that little line, the way he corrected himself, what you've written, instead of wrote, which, grammatically incorrect. Clever kid, right? We had a lot of that in episode 1. And the way that he's like, this feels like a trick. And I don't think he's wrong. She is assessing him. We know that from, the start of the episode. I mean, you can kind of work that out anyway, but we do have verbal confirmation in the episode that that's what she's doing. There is a bit of a trick here, at least, that's quite a superficial way to talk about it, an ungenerous way to talk about it. But from the perspective of like the intent of how he means that, he's not wrong. Again, clever kid. And I did kind of, when he said that, it got me going a little bit. It got my mind going a little bit. And I didn't mention it because it's a little peripheral, I suppose. Maybe speculation as well. But then that line there, again, I feel like the episode's subtly kind of trying to demonstrate actually how clever he is. And I'm like, it is harder, I feel like, almost, when you get a clever kid combined with what we've seen in respect to the foundational issues that he has as a human in regards to how he sees women, how he clearly has a lot of angst, anger, how he's been learning from figures like Andrew Tate and all that stuff. Because I feel like that cleverness, he's so much less susceptible to people like this coming in or someone else coming in and trying to bring him out of that, because he's probably got an answer for everything. He's clearly learned all this stuff from somewhere, memorized it all, integrated it. It's so deep in there. It's so much a part of his being, and he's a clever person. So it's like anyone actually he'll have answers to all of it. He'll have thought about it. He's a clever kid. He'll be applying that intelligence to all of this wrong information in a way that I think makes it so much harder to get him out of it. Whereas, like, respectfully, a less intelligent kid perhaps wouldn't have the answers or the thinking power to combat an adult coming in and being like, hey, what you're saying doesn't make sense because of this, this, and this. And that perhaps less intelligent kid would be like, oh, well, you've got a point, because they can't think of anything to come back with, right? He's so much cleverer than that, which makes it so much harder to get through to him, I feel like, as well.
An independent pre-sentence offence report.
Okay.
Which we'll read in order to get an understanding of you and your understanding of the charges.
Right. To, dole out adequate punishment, depending on who he is as a person.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Anger. Oh, happy boy.
Questions, but I think, am I boring you?
Disrespect there. Laughing, yawning, yeah. Just my opinion. You let me know down in the comments. I don't think he'd do this to a man. Look at that. As soon as she gets a little bit of iron in her voice, she stops playing games because he's confronting her and kind of coming for her a little bit in this conversation. You see that her voice, her tone, she stops being playful. She starts smiling. She puts on that professional more so. Suddenly, the hints of disrespect, of making fun that we have seen all through this conversation come to the forefront, and Jamie dispenses with any show of respect. I think, and where did that respect come from? I do honestly think that there was some element of, from his perspective, obviously, they're getting on, there's some banter. I think to his mind, because I think in regard to a lot of men, if a woman is being nice to you, joking with you, then they're flirting with you, want to date you, and it's like, no, they're just being a nice person, right? I think this shade of masculinity does often persuade men that if a woman is being that sort of shade of human towards you, it is a certain thing. And so I think the way that obviously we've seen that he's been raised and the foundations, I think, for his masculinity and who he is as a person as a result of everything we've seen. I think the only reason he was shown any modicum of respect was because there was some element to his mind of flirting, of she's interested in me. And as a young kid, he doesn't quite understand, obviously, that that's perhaps not what's happening. Maybe he does understand, but it doesn't matter because he's been raised with this idea that if women are doing this to me, there's some kind of chance. I'm sure there's plenty of men that were boys that didn't have that experience, and that's fine too. But I just think that's what's happening. And sorry, the reason I mention it is because I think that's gone away now because she got suddenly closed off. That banteriness went away and she went hard iron. And so because of that, all of the goodwill that he had in how he... And that's what I mean. That's misogynistic. That's what I said at the beginning. I felt like there was an element of him treating her as a romantic conquest. Almost. Maybe that's the wrong phrasing. Maybe that's harsh phrasing. Semantics, however you want to say it. When that went away, all his goodwill went away. That's misogynistic because the only reason he was treating her well was because he thought he had a chance. That is not giving the woman value past the point of being a sexual object. That's what I feel like's going on here. And now, like I say, those little hints of the disrespect are coming through, and that is just the forefront now because that's all that's left, right? In the face of how she's presenting herself and coming and meeting him. All of this is so complex to kind of unpack. I mean, that's not her job, that's not what she's trying to do, but...
And everyone else, for that matter, are far more complex than straightforward questions allow for.
I wonder, actually, as well, because he is so clever, and he is, there's probably a complex that comes with that he thinks he's cleverer than everyone else. Again, guesswork, just what I'm seeing. Bit of a leap, maybe it'll go nowhere. Mix that cleverness with the misogyny. He probably thinks he's cleverer than her.
What did we talk about last time?
And it's that line that makes me think that, because he's testing her. You tell me, what do we speak about last time? Do you remember?
What, and now you want to talk about my dad?
Well, I want to talk about lots of things.
Oh, he's on the back foot now.
Well, I wanted to talk about the fight you had.
Oh, that was nothing. Wasn't a proper fight.
Wasn't a proper fight. How do you see a proper fight? I saw the footage, you were throwing punches. That's a fight, dude. Minimizing violence to the point that it's normal. It wasn't even a proper fight. It was just, what, boys being boys? Are you going to go that far? It's kind of the words not said, but...
Okay, let's move on.
Going with him.
Well, I'm in charge now, am I?
Maybe.
Try it on for size, why not?
I also wrote down that I wanted to talk to you about what being a man feels like.
Really cool question, yeah.
You want a cock and balls, do you?
It's too big a question, right? And the fight's too small a question. Which is why it's more useful for me to see where the conversation goes and steer it a bit into what you think of your dad and your granddad, for instance.
Good for her. She's just being open about it, yeah. Yeah, you caught me, it's a trick. This is why I'm doing it, though. Trying to get some respect, just get him to soften up a little bit. Yeah, she's good.
Rather than saying, so, Jamie, what do you think being a man feels like?
Okay.
What do you think being a man feels like?
It's not a trick.
It's not, but I get why he sees it that way.
It's just a conversation.
Yeah, the fact that he thinks of it as a trick is a bit of an issue, isn't it? What's a trick? It's a bad thing. Steeped in negative. I conflated it with, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. But what I meant by that was that she is trying to assess him in a way that isn't being so obvious, which is what she was just talking about. But there's a reason for that, right? And she's right. It is just a conversation. But he sees a trick and a trap and everything in it because he's not used to opening up and having honest conversations. She's asking him, what kind of man do you think you are? He's like, I don't know. Never thought about it before. Even though he's perhaps got people like Andrew Tate telling him what men should be. I feel like if you're listening to somebody like that and having these things about masculinity and manhood being instilled in you, you should have thought about what kind of man you want to be. Introspection, right? Being introspective about it. And I feel like there's almost a disconnect that shows a lot there of how perhaps boys can listen to someone like Andrew Tate and have it all be about men, manhood, what kind of man, you're going to be, want to be, should be in society, what being a man is in society. And yet you ask a boy who clearly has been steeped in that. We saw obviously Andrew Tate you mentioned last episode. The implication there being obviously that, kids like Jamie are very much considering the actions and what he's done on board with that. Point being, a disconnect in the sense of she asks him a question, he's like, I don't know. Demonstrates actually how none of these kids are thinking about what they're being taught. The mere fact he didn't know how to answer that goes to demonstrate how hollow things that Andrew Tate and figures like him are peddling are. Because it's not actually teaching them anything. He can't answer that question. If they're actually teaching in any real way, he should be able to answer that question. He can't. What does that demonstrate? It demonstrates how hollow, like I say, it is. And like I say, the disconnect there.
What you wrote how you wrote it.
No,
How you wrote it.
you're not that in charge.
How you wrote it. You want to know what she really thinks of you. Why does it matter? Insecurity in that question.
Does your dad like his job? Is he funny? Loving?
No, that's weird.
Loving's weird.
How angry does he get?
He's never hit me.
No, I don't think he has, but that's, I think, what I was coming down on in episode 1. He thinks it's weird to be loved by his dad, a man, which, like, I don't think his dad is that kind of person. Not to say he doesn't love him, I know he does, but in the relationship I think we saw in episode 1, there isn't a very overt, I love you, son, genuinely, like, coming through, like, in ways that are more obvious. Is he angry? Sometimes. Didn't hit me, though. It's like, no, in episode 1 I was like, I didn't think he did either. But I do think there's aggression there which is affecting you, mate.
He just gets mad. We all do.
Okay.
Okay.
He's pulled a shed down once when he was in a proper rage, but I thought it was quite funny at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like that most of the time.
Yeah, okay. You find it funny, though. That was fine to you. That was normal to you. And it was teaching you how to be. Teaching you that that's okay because your dad does it.
He was your appropriate adult?
Yeah, because he doesn't judge.
Okay.
He's a kind person. He basically likes all sport. It's not for me. I'm not good at much, but I'm really good at getting out of PE.
Okay. Perhaps feeding his insecurity. Young boys are taught you gotta be into sport. Even better if you're good at it. He's like, I'm good at getting out of it. Why would you want to get out of it? Because you're not good at it. Is that embarrassing to you? You know, this element of embarrassment to not being good at sport, so I don't want to do it. I don't want to open myself up to that vulnerability. Always got to be strong and in control at all times.
What does your dad make of that?
He knew I wasn't sporty or anything like that. He used to take me to football.
You're uncomfortable talking about this.
He'd cheer me on and everything, but
You just want to make him proud and you don't feel like you can?
when I'd f up, he'd just...
Right. Belittled you. You felt belittled. Damn, yeah.
He'd just look away.
Oh. That affects a kid. How messed up is that as well? Again, and that's something that I think a lot of people would genuinely say, it's just how it is. I played football. My dad never came to watch. My mum did, bless her. She wasn't like this. But like some of the dads were really aggressive if you messed up. Like a couple of the dads that weren't my dad, if I messed up, they would shout at me. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, it must be even worse for their kid. Right? Because they did it to their kid too. And it's like, it's not that serious. It's really not that serious. But that happens all the time. And look at him. That hit him so deep. Eroded probably a lot of self-worth, right? I think how your dad sees you as a young boy is really impactful. And if you perceive your dad to not respect you, be ashamed of you, God, that's where the insecurity comes from. He felt vulnerable in those moments. So it stands to reason that he's uncomfortable with being vulnerable. Probably takes him back to things like that, right?
Ashamed.
How did you feel when you saw that? Shame?
He's supposed to say he wasn't. He's supposed to say, oh, but he wasn't ashamed.
Have other people said that to you?
It's just the right thing to say.
Isn't it lying?
I don't know, I don't like lying.
Okay, good. Let's get through to the kid here.
I wasn't into school sports either.
You were good at other stuff though, weren't you?
Why do you think that?
You look like you were and you're clever, so...
There's a sweet kid under here, isn't there? The way also that he kind of responded to her there. This is what you're supposed to say. It's this, he's been socialized and trained into thinking that you shouldn't talk about the thing, right? You shouldn't be open because that's just how it is. He's not been in any kind of environment that's taught him to be like emotionally open and honest. What's that going to result in? It's going to result in a closed off kid, which is what we've got.
Most people think they're bad at everything.
But most people are. It's wrong that I'm in here.
You feel hard done by it?
But putting me in a madhouse.
It's a secure training centre.
Okay.
It's all accused. If I hurt her, then I get it, but I didn't.
Right. So they still don't definitively know that he did do it. He's still denying it.
You need to sit down, Jamie.
You'd have to go home and then come back again. So look out! You want to sit down?
Yeah.
Do not tell me when to sit down!
Oh, there it is.
Look at me now!
Look at me now.
Get that in that little head of yours!
Yeah, that's really sad. Because what did we just see? Poor emotional processing. She was saying things to him. He was getting panicked, fairly validly so. He's not in a place that he thinks he should be. Like, as a young person, it's completely fair that he's losing control of himself. He's panicking, he's scared. The problem is that he doesn't know how to deal with that, and what we just saw was it got worse and worse and built and built and built and built to a point where it exploded. That is really poor emotional regulation. right? Basic stuff. Fair enough. We all see it. But that's what I mean, is that I think, you know, boys like him and the issue that arises, and I talked about it a lot last episode, this idea of men, masculinity. We saw the young boy Ryan, we saw the cop. They can only communicate properly through anger and aggression. You know, we only got somewhere when that was what was going on. He lost control of himself. He couldn't control the situation, and he defaulted into everything that he just said to her in the way he just said it, and it shows exactly how much he respects her. Again, I don't think he would have done the same thing to a man. And I think that foundationally shows the disrespect that he has for women as well.
Jamie.
I shouted. I'm sorry.
Man's in the room now, and he's calmed down, and he's reeled it back in. Yeah, super interesting scene. It's so interesting. In that conversation, you can see so much of Jamie. You can see all of the problems. You can also see the good kid in there. Yeah, take a second, mate.
Could I look in the room?
Yeah, what are you looking for? To see how calm he is? His demeanour? What?
I mean, what is it you're looking for?
Yeah?
Body language stuff.
Hey, do you want to back off a touch? What's going on?
Just I'm reading a book on that at the moment.
Okay.
My sister gave it to me.
Dude, let her work. You're not a professional just because you read a book.
People hide. You know, I don't
Dude.
need to tell you this.
Yeah, but you are, mate. I mean, pretty textbook mansplaining, isn't it, really? A man reads one book about a subject and thinks they're a professional, or to the point that they can have a conversation with someone and go and speak with authority on it, right? Which, whatever it is, what it is, I think it reaches a new level when you are talking to a professional here and talking like you know. I mean, I know that he acknowledged it, but he's still doing it.
They hide so much. Maybe they tell the truth with their bodies.
Yes, maybe.
So funny as well, the choice to linger on her face. You as the audience, you want to be like, no, show me what you're looking at. It's not the important thing though at this point. I think we're panning now, but I mean, it very clearly wants you to look at what's happening in front of you here and how he's behaving, what he's doing, and the inherent almost disrespect it shows in the subtleties of how he's presenting it, because it's like the way that he did that, like he said, oh, I don't need to tell you this. But even in that line, I don't need to tell you this, is we're on the same level. Because I've read a book. They're not at all. But even in that moment of like awareness of what he was doing, he still put himself a level pecking order with her. Well, I don't need to tell you this, you know this already. Which automatically validates himself in what he's saying. Well, you know this, you're the professional, and obviously the only reason you know this is because you're a professional, thereby giving what he's saying this aura of professionality, even though it's not. He just read a book, right? Anyway, the camera angle, the fact that it's not showing us that and it's showing us this, very much trying to shine a spotlight on what's going on here.
I can do what you do.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure I couldn't do what you do.
Yeah. Even that though, again, it's this thing of he's trying to reel it in. I couldn't do your job. And so, you know, anyone watching now, it's like, Tyler, he said, I couldn't do your job. Is that not enough? Is that not enough? But it's like, no, because he still did what he did. He in himself is trying to make that situation better and make himself feel better by being like, oh, I couldn't do your job though. But he's still in the language, and you can tell underlying it in the language he chose to use that he in himself perceives him to be on an even pecking order with her just because he read a book. Even inherent in that I couldn't do what you do isn't to say that he's not proficient enough. It's, oh, I couldn't do it. Almost because it's like this thing of, oh, it's the darkness of humanity. But this is my ultimate point, is that I think that, to my mind at least, the show is trying to present it all in a way that's like, on the surface, there's nothing wrong. No one would identify anything wrong with how he's behaving and what he's saying. But actually what he is actually saying and how he's behaving does show inherent disrespect to her. And it's why it's so hard to unpack and try to explain to a person. Like if I was trying to explain this to this guy, I don't think it'd get through to him. Because I don't think he understands or would understand what he did there. So to me, it's like almost the show trying to, you know, demonstrate it and how complex it can be and how hard it is to unpack it all.
I like my job most of the time.
I hate mine.
Okay.
So you're probably best off.
All right, buddy. Getting personal.
Right. That's all I needed.
No need.
Pleased to help.
Thank you. Thanks.
Pleased to help. I wonder where that's coming from. I feel like almost the implication is like, pleased to help and show you the camera. I don't think he meant it that way. Pleased to help in what he was saying about the psychology stuff. I think even that line, I hate my job, and her saying, no, I actually quite like it most of the time. I do feel like shows kind of an emotional intelligence, because it's like, if you hate your job, then you need to consider changing it. It takes a lot of, I think, self-awareness to be able to identify not only that you hate it, but that because of that, it's important for you to listen to yourself, be gentle with yourself, be soft to yourself, be empathetic to yourself, and say, okay, I need to start looking for a different job. I think it's very telling. And again, the dialogue, how it's been arranged, who's saying it, which person of what gender is saying what. And like I say, she says, I quite like mine most of the time. She has chosen to put her time, her effort into something that she finds fulfilling and valuable, because she has the emotional intelligence to not only identify what she would like, but to go after it. And I think it requires empathy, self-awareness, softness to yourself, which I don't think a lot of men do have in regard to themselves, in regard, just in all of the ways that I've talked about already about this show, in regard to this show. And so I feel like the fact that he's like, I hate mine, also, by the way, a very personal, intense thing to say to someone that you don't know. And I feel like there's almost a thing of like, because she's a woman, he feels like he can open up to her because, oh, well, we can only open up to women. We can't open up to men, can we? Because no, men have to keep it all stum and not talk about anything ever. And it's like, this is a woman that's not personal to him. He doesn't know her personally. So it almost feels like perhaps a safer person. Like, that's not appropriate to do that to someone that you don't know, to say that. It puts her in a weird position of like, okay, why are you telling me? In that guy, I do feel like there's a lot being demonstrated as to his immaturity, actually. Or no, that's not the right word, sorry. Emotional immaturity, specifically. The way he's like just at the door jam, always watching her, innit? Almost this attachment. That's so funny and so weird. But I think it's almost this thing of like, this professional, and I don't exactly know her job description, but a psychologist of some kind. She's there to assess Jamie's behaviour. It speaks to me as this guy is screaming out for connection and help, doesn't know how to go about finding it or talk to anybody, and he sees an opportunity in this lady here because of her vocation in finding or trying to find that connection. I think you can see that in the way that he is around her, and it does demonstrate a lot of unhealthiness. Again, beautiful. This show is so beautiful, so subtle. There's so much detail in it. In every, I feel like, representation of men, women, how they interact around each other. So many different examples as well, different settings, different contexts. All of it going to show all of these subtleties. Just I love that.
Would you be more comfortable with me staying inside?
No, I wouldn't like that at all. I know you think I'm trying to trick you.
Okay. Interesting. What did you see on that tape that makes you feel like this is the right call?
How masculine men feel about women.
Yeah, let's dig into that.
I've got your hot chocolate.
It's fine, I don't deserve it. I showered.
There you go. There's a good kid in here.
Dad's actually nice to Mum.
You did say he tore down a shed.
Yeah, he just gets angry with him. He's never hit her.
That's the second time. Yeah, but he doesn't hit me. Yeah, but he doesn't hit her. That's not what she's getting at, and that's not the point. That's not the be-all and end-all of bad behaviour. I think she's getting at, she wants to know about it, because I think she's getting at what I was getting at in episode 1 of like, the behaviour of his dad, I think, has informed Jamie and how he behaves. And she wants to find out, actually, where the buck stops with that. Is it Jamie? Or is it his dad? Like, where does it come from? Because I do think that can inform a judge as to actually if he's a good kid on his own, away from all of that, where he's learned it, what that means.
Does he speak to other women?
What?
Is he friendly with other women?
How does he talk to other women?
He loves my Mum.
No, I'm asking whether any of his friends are women.
No.
Yeah.
His mates are his mates.
And they're men.
Is that wrong?
No, that's not wrong.
But it does show a lot if his friends are only men and not women. Because what is that, right? You get that all the time. You know, men that don't have women friends. I've learned so much from my friends in my life that I've had that are women, genuinely. Which obviously, right, it's not a groundbreaking thing. But I do feel like the inability to perhaps talk to women, befriend women, genuinely, does show an inherent misunderstanding or lack of understanding for how to talk to women. Which, like, if Jamie is learning that from his dad, or not learning that from his dad, it's different, right? Because his mum maybe has women friends, but it's different because it's like Jamie's going to be looking at his dad as to how to be, you know, in regard to a man with a woman. If he has no frame of reference for that, if his dad doesn't, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not, and it also informs how his dad is going to be at home in regard to his son. An inability to befriend women does speak to, I think, who you are as a person, how you are as a person. And I think, you know, look, the things that we're seeing in Jamie, how deep does it go in regards to, And I mean, look, maybe I'm grasping at straws or taking a bit of a leap here. I'd maybe go so far as to say actually that some of the things that are, I say that, like I do think this, some of the things that we're seeing in Jamie in regards to this misogyny is in his dad as well, but his dad has been socialized in a way that Jamie hasn't, that allows him to catch himself before he's actively dangerous with it. Do you know what I mean? In a way that Jamie hasn't been, in the intense freedom and lack of supervision in regard to the internet, Andrew Tate, and how I think school life is, as we saw last episode today.
And none of this has nothing to do with him.
Everything to do with him a little bit, actually. Not everything, but...
What do you think about women?
I like them.
How?
Not, like you say, particularly friends with them.
Yeah.
Would you like a girlfriend?
Yeah, who doesn't?
If you did, where would you take her?
The cinema.
To see what kind of film?
A horror.
I think even that shows a lot, like, oh, you go see a film that you want to see. Because he could have answered there to that question. What film would you go see? I don't know. It depends what she's into. But that would be giving her respect. He went immediately to, like, what I want to see.
I told you I'm not gay.
I wasn't suggesting that you were.
That's the second time, but derision in that as well. Homophobia, probably. Again, been taught to him probably by school kids, you know, society. Maybe gets it through his dad and he's God, where do you want to pick that from? There is an indication in that, in how he replies to the insinuation that he might be gay. Because I think in his ultra-masculine, unhealthy version of masculinity, anything even slightly associated with being gay is to be avoided at all costs. And there's an inherent issue in that, because I think quite often the softer, more empathetic traits of humanity are associated with gay people, at least for this, brand of masculinity, which is unfortunate, because it's like if you start to, actually exhibit any of those things, whether you're... So Ryan, last episode, didn't cry when he got hit, right? Because what's that associated with? Are you going to cry like a girl? If you're a little bit softer. All of these things associated with the gentler sides of humanity, being gay, another one, pushes them further and further away from actually being good people, good kids, this obsession with not being gay. And that also impacts how you are in regard to your friends that are guys as well. It means that there's this absence of connection to a certain extent, because it's like you start asking the question, maybe she'll ask it in a minute, like, do you ever hug your friends, your friends that are boys? No, I imagine would be the answer, right? Because they don't want to be associated with being gay, but that is a fundamental element to the human existence, is connection. Hugging people, complimenting, hyping your mate up, you look great today. Nothing gay about that, but I think this brand of masculinity would associate it that way. And that just results in us not, as men, not validating each other, not comforting each other. It makes us so unused to any warmth or connection to the point. And then that, goes and informs how people are in regard to, men are in regard to girlfriends. Right, partners, because that's perhaps one of the first times, only avenues in their life where they can get that. Have someone that shows that level of intimacy. Because I mean, like a hug, a compliment doesn't have to be romantic, but in these kinds of boys, in these kinds of men, that's where that's the only avenue they can find it, is in a girlfriend, because that's the only place that they're comfortable receiving that, which is so unhealthy, so stifling in finding the healthier, warmer aspects of life and living a happier life, a more connected life with, your friends, your family, anyone. It closes off. All of it closes off just in that one throwaway line twice in regard to how he perceives being associated with being gay. And you can extrapolate so much from that about how unhealthy that is for him.
Touching her bits. I've actually done all that. Kissing and touching.
Okay.
I've had 2 girls show me the tits, chest.
It's just showing her a lot in it. Even his use of and not chest. You don't have to use my language. She wants to know the language he would use. Because I think, not necessarily, but I think in this context, his choice of word there, quite casual, not particularly laced with any romance or care, shows you how, to him, he sees it at least as a purely sexual act and not something associated with, I like this person. I don't know, this speaks of like how he's been taught, like he thinks he should speak as well, by the way.
That didn't happen.
And did 2 girls go topless with you?
You were playing it up.
Not porn. Everyone sees porn.
You saw photos of 2 girls in your year topless?
Yeah.
Would they be happy you saw those photos?
Yeah, good question.
Everyone else did.
Not an answer to the question. There's so much just in this small exchange.
Was Katie one of those 2 girls?
How do you know that?
How did it feel to see
No,
that?
how would you guess that?
Sorry, how did you guess that? Everyone's seen porn. You're 13, dude. And I get that I'm not coming for how normal that is, in the sense of like, oh, Tyler, well, I did when I was 13. Yeah, sure, yeah, that's whatever. But porn does rot the mind as to like what a healthy sexual relationship should be. It teaches a lot of it. Like, this is why I don't want to necessarily go into this as a topic. It's such a huge topic, but something like porn does teach young people, but people, certain things about how to be in the bedroom, or what to expect as well. I think there's an inherent, a lot of the time, in I suppose what you would consider mainstream porn. So I'm not talking about like more romantic, more intimate. I'm talking about, the stuff, the kind of the aggressive stuff, the demeaning stuff. This common theme, this common thread of, the women being treated like objects, right? Something to be. I'm talking about that and how that teaches people to be, how it informs how they should treat someone in the bedroom, what it's okay to be like. All of these ways in which it teaches young people to have such an unhealthy perspective in regards to intimacy.
Would they be happy you saw those photos?
Everyone else did.
Everyone else did, so I don't want to get left out. Well, everyone else saw it, so why shouldn't I? Not even a thought to the fact that those girls didn't want everyone to see those.
I liked it. Are we allowed to talk like this?
His constant asking, are we allowed to talk like this? He keeps doing that. Shows a certain way that he is in regard to talking openly about intimate subjects. And it's like, he should be able to talk about this, at least with his parents, this sort of thing. And it's not even forget that, not even this subject, but it shows, I do feel as if how there is a certain, I've talked about it before, closed offness to him in regard to intimacy, connection, being soft, talking about feelings. I think inherent in that question, are we allowed to talk like this? It's like, to his mind, some things are off limits. We're not allowed to talk about them. That in itself is inherently unhealthy, and I think is reflected in the way he keeps asking that.
Were you attracted to Katie?
She was quite, no offence, quite flat,
Right.
Well, everyone else said it. You saw it. That's not just me.
Everyone else said it, so it's okay.
Snapchat,
God, kids can be cruel.
Why did she send it to Fidget?
I don't know, she fancied it.
And then he sent it to someone else.
He's not going to get any more pictures though, is he?
Wow, dude.
No, she's dead.
My God.
I meant from other girls. No one will send him any of her pictures because he wasn't careful with the one he got.
So you think he should have collected more pictures from more girls before he shared them with other boys?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I love, by the way, the comparison between last episode and this episode. This episode is so still. I remember mentioning last episode, it's so chaotic, there's so much chaos. I loved it for that. It showed so much. It showed, in that setting, that context, it was just, I love how this changes that up though. You're getting more of the same, but it's so different. And it's like, since episode 1, you're kind of waiting to see more of Jamie. It's giving you that. Not only is it giving you that, it's giving you all of that. I just think the series and the pace of it, the choice of the episodes, how they focus, like I say, this is so still. It is just two people in a room for the most part. Yeah, we're moving a little bit, but for the most part, this is all it is. It's just basically this room, corridor, near the vending machines, and that other room, right? The cameras. So isolated, so kind of simple in regards to the choices being made as to what we're focusing on. And I just think the pacing's really good for that. Last episode was good for what it was. I think if we went into this episode, it had some of the same chaotic kind of nature of it, maybe wouldn't have worked as well. I just think this and the slowing down of it and now lingering over all of this again, because it's like, if the whole show is just that first episode or this episode where it's so slow, it's just conversations in the sense of subtle stuff, blah blah whatever, I do think that perhaps could be a criticism from people of like, oh, it's so boring. I feel like in the packaging of the show there was perhaps a creative decision of like, how do we, this is a really important message, how do we package it in a way that keeps people interested? I feel like it's like, well, if we keep it all in one room for every single episode or whatever, that people are going to get bored, they're going to disengage, even if it's good, because it's all the same thing. And I just feel like last episode was so important for actually breaking up the tone and the tenor of the show in the way it did, and then coming back now and being like, okay, we've had that episode, now we're just going to sit down and we're just going to be still and we're going to do this. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that creative decision is so important actually to make this show what it is in the way that it is, that keeps people engaged, which means that I feel like this message they're trying to deliver is so much more effective in how it's being delivered, which I can imagine is the goal. right, with this in the conception of it, because, you know, you can very much tell that's like, we have an important message here, we need to get it out to as many people as possible. And I feel like the pacing and the construction of the actual episodes and how they've been directed, how they've focused, is doing that to such a degree that is so effective, actually.
Do you think women are attracted to you?
No,
Right.
of course not.
Oh, dude. I mean, I was talking about this last episode and I said the same. I was like, why would they be? Like, respectfully, considering the fundamental lack of respect that he has for them.
Why, of course not.
Yeah, why? Why do you think that?
I'm ugly.
Not, hey.
How does that make you feel?
Oof.
Aren't you supposed to say I'm not ugly?
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that. No, she's being open. She's discussing it with you, mate. Why do you think that? It's not even coming into the conversation for me as to whether he's ugly, whether he's not. I think far more important is how you are as a person, how you treat people, mate. It's this conversation of attraction. You know, I think we have this instinct nowadays to, when someone starts talking about, like, what do you find attractive, people start talking about physical aspects. And it's like, I think that is a representation of how unhealthy our society is, right? And, you know, we've talked about beauty standards before. I'm not going to go over that either. It's so simple, right? Like, at the end of the day, everyone's attracted to different people. Everyone's attracted to different things. I think a lot of the time, so often, certain things eclipse how you look, whether it's your sense of humor, whether it's how you treat people, whether it's the vocation you've chosen for yourself, how good you are at it, right? All of these different things that so many different people are attracted to or gravitate towards. But we've taught people in that sphere, in that realm of attraction, that the most important thing is how you look. What does that do to young people with the combination of Instagram models? I think I talked about it in episode 1, how it's teaching kids to see the world. How it's not only teaching kids how to see the world, it's teaching kids how to see themselves, more importantly, because he's gone internal, he's gone complete, he's not even thinking about how he treats women, the respect he has for them inherent in that. He's like, I'm ugly. It's like, that itself in how he's identifying why women aren't into him is so fundamentally wrong and shows actually how much work there is, like we didn't know, but how much work there is to do in him to unpack and unpick the damage that's been done to him. And he keeps doing that thing. That isn't what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say this. You're supposed to say, I'm not ugly. He's been coddled emotionally because people have said when he's shown this insecurity, this vulnerability, he's had people kind of coddle him to a certain extent. And it's like, people might argue to me, you know, Tyler, well, aren't they just being nice? And it's like, on the surface, perhaps, but if it's teaching him behaviors like this, in the sense of not actually identifying the issue with what he's saying, in the sense of he says, I'm ugly. Someone says, no, you're not. It's like, yeah, cool, fair enough, but that's not really the root of the issue. What someone really should be trying to say to him is that whether you're ugly or not doesn't matter. Ugly isn't necessarily just applied to how you look, it's applied to the kind of person you are, and actually the way that you're fundamentally seeing this, Jamie, is wrong, right? This is what I mean. Aren't you supposed to say this? No, absolutely not. And she's not saying that. And I think there's something telling in that too. He's used to this almost emotional band-aid, you know, not actually cutting through, you know, this emotion, getting to the core of it, unpacking it, being like, you know, bringing it out and having a conversation about it, which is what this lady's trying to do. He's not used to that. He's kind of saying, no, patch me up. I'm saying things that I'm being, you know, I'm vulnerable about. I'm used to people not dealing with that and being open and connecting. I'm used to people being like, no, blah, 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 blah. You're not ugly. Done. Fix. Good. Go out into the world, which isn't fixing the issue. And I think his reaction, continued reaction, that he keeps saying that sort of thing, aren't you supposed to say this, aren't you supposed to say this, aren't you supposed to say this, demonstrates actually how used he is to people just plastering over a problem and not actually dealing with the problem, which is an inherent issue. And he's got that from parents, guardians, whatever. He's learned that.
Yeah, you don't say the things normal people say, do you?
Normal people say. And everything that I've just said is how he associates normal. How bad is that?
You thought I should have contradicted you when you said your dad was ashamed of you, and you think I should contradict you now when you tell me you think yourself ugly.
She's really cutting through it. I love that.
I'm interested in the fact that you think you're ugly, Jamie.
Beautiful. Yeah.
What you think is more important to me than what is true.
Beautiful line. Yeah, listen to the words she say, man.
You don't know. You're pretty.
This isn't about me, Jamie.
My understanding of my understanding of my understanding.
Yes?
Yeah, she needs to break through this.
The other bloke is much more easy.
Really? So it's interesting. The other shrink is a guy, and you're having a much easier time with him. I think there's something in that. We were talking last episode about the cop and how he interacted with the boy and the girl, how more easily he connected with the boy. Perhaps we're seeing here secondhand how the same thing has been happening.
I didn't say that! You!
Jamie!
He keeps reaching that boiling point, doesn't he? That's showing her all she kind of needs to know.
What was that? Hey? What the was that?
Oh, hello.
Signal away like a queen, yeah?
Like a queen. Oh, she's not allowed any power. That offends you. Jesus. There's so much to be done with this kid. What a mountain to climb. So much damage that's been done to him. And it's not all social media. Social media stoked the flame that I think was already there. It's like what I said in regard to Jamie and his dad. I think his dad, raised without social media, I would suspect that his dad, in the way that he is, you know, we've kind of broached onto that conversation in this episode, in regard to the fact that he doesn't have any women friends, all that stuff. He has this anger as well. All indications as to, I think, what I'm talking about in the sense that he's the same as Jamie. He has that little spark of misogyny, but he was raised a certain way in a generation that was what it was. And like I say, he at least was socialized in a way where that flame wasn't stoked into the burning inferno that it is in Jamie, which he has got through this, like I say, rampant use of social media and what it does. Yeah, she's assessing. She's just there to observe, really.
Are you done?
Yeah. These are perfectly normal conversations. He shouldn't be blowing up consistently like this.
Are you going now?
It's so interesting as well, the use of the rain, the sound of the rain. I feel like both times, I think it's been twice, has kind of been the onset of kind of felt like the onset of a storm. I think the rain happens and then he blows up.
He said Tommy was called Round Pounds because his mum did her shopping at Poundland.
Wow.
Ryan was called Dumb.
Ryan is dumb. That one was sort of true.
Oh my God.
People would spit on you from classroom windows. You'd be tripped up and pushed.
Wow. Damn.
Why do you have an Instagram account?
To look at other people's accounts.
And they're all just looking at each other. Adam said the same thing. Just watch what everyone else is posting. There's nothing actually stopping them from not having one. But it's been so normalised that if you don't have one, you're not normal. It's teaching you that you have to be in the place that you're going to be assaulted with all of these unhealthy images and things that are going to twist you certain ways. And you have to do that, at least in the social hierarchy of school. There's no other option. You're trapped.
KT wrote this on your Facebook feed.
Are you alright? Did I scare you when I shouted?
Look at that. He feels vulnerable. She's pushing. What did he just do? He tried to assert power, dominance over her, trying to flip it, make her feel vulnerable. That's such a bad instinct to have. That's why, I mean, he runs away from feeling vulnerable, from feeling intimate in any way or opening himself up emotionally in any way. That's a really bad instinct for a kid to have. It speaks to a lot of the issues that he's dealing with.
I don't think I look that scary.
You've been accused of killing someone.
Could you tell me what these emojis
Oh,
are?
how embarrassing is that?
Still going.
13-year-old.
Trying to belittle her, make her feel small and scared.
What do these emojis mean, Jamie?
She's not engaging. She knows exactly what he's doing.
The kidney beans mean they're kidney beans, right?
I love that from her face. This actor, that's beautiful. Everything that he said, she's keeping it together beautifully as a professional in this moment. What does she do as soon as he looks away? There's actually a little bit of, you know, because you can tell she's getting rocked by this kid, right? Just the fact that he is who he is, and I mean, even if it's just to the point that it's like, this is horrible. This kid shouldn't be like this. Like, it's affecting, you know, from one human to another, it's affecting, right? It's disturbing. Anyway, he looks away. Look at her face as he does that. It's like, okay, he's looked away. Everything that he's just trying to do in intimidating and belittling her, you can kind of see her just release a bit of tension. Hang on. It's beautiful acting.
They're kidney beans, right?
Look, he looked away. Look at that. Yeah, it's kind of collecting herself a little bit, just being like, whoa, you know, because that's exactly what he was looking for. He was eye contact, no blinking. He was looking for any sign of weakness in her, any kind of emotional response to know that he got to her. And she couldn't show that until he looked away. She knows that.
Throat's killing.
Yeah, you keep shouting, mate.
And then that's an 80-20 thing.
What's an 80-20 thing?
The show already told us last episode what the 80-20 thing is. By having her ask the question again, the show is trying to demonstrate something different. There's no reason to tell the audience what it is again, so why? I think she's ascertaining here how quick he goes to lie, and what he's willing to lie about, and what that tells her about him. She mentions the kidney beans. I think she knows they're not and she's inviting him to make fun of her again. He doesn't. Why? What's changed? He's abashed. Has this duality of getting angry while reprimanding himself after. He knows it's bad but can't control it. He recognizes he shouldn't do it but can't exercise control over it. This demonstrates that there's a good moral kid underneath all of this. The fact he's choosing in this moment, as abashed again as he is, not to pick at the kidney bean comment shows her that's not a response he has fueled by mean spirit. It's more definitively a response fueled by insecurity, by vulnerability. I think this choice he makes in when he lies is telling her a lot about his character. Again, I think she knows what the 80-20 thing is. So do we. I think she's testing to see whether he'll lie. In a moment, we see that he doesn't, which means that his lie before about being sexual with a girl wasn't part of his character from a perspective of him being genuinely and deeply mean-spirited. I think that's definitively telling her that he lies specifically when he's vulnerable and insecure, and along with all the other information she's gathering about his father and masculinity, she can tie all this together to ascertain specifically who he is and why. All of these subtleties, I think, go to show just how good she is at her job. She's making sure her conclusions are right without a shadow of a doubt. He's not a pathological liar or an evil person at heart, just a scared kid that's been horribly socialized into an amalgamation of someone we can compare to a monster, and more importantly, she has evidence for that. He's a kid that can be saved. Not a kid that's doomed for one path.
80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. I do think they're right about that, though.
Yeah, of course you do. I talked about the 80-20 thing last episode, so I won't repeat it, but the fact that he just said there that he believes it is sad.
Why did she do it to you?
Because I'm ugly.
You think that's why she did it to you? What did you say?
I'm not what you say I am. She just smiled and said, okay. I didn't kill her. You can't trust videos anymore. It's all fake news.
Oh, man.
Look at you.
Oh, there we go.
All hopeful like I'm going to say something important.
We're back.
I did ask her out after the photo. Sorry that they'd done that to her.
Right.
I wanted to know if she'd come to the fair with me.
Oh.
I just thought she might be weak. She might like me.
Oh, man. There's so much to unpack with that. The fact that he had the instinct to think, oh, she's been battered down, she's going to go for someone like me, someone that he perceives himself to be as ugly. That's all so problematic. But again, underneath all of that, and the lack of understanding of how to be, or the lack of emotional intelligence in him, there is a sweet kid that I feel like you can unearth from it all.
It's clever, don't you think?
To ask her out.
Wow.
Her weakness made her more gettable.
That's horrible.
She's flat. That's fact, but I didn't mind that.
Well, there you go. There's a kernel of something nice in there. Because he's right. It doesn't matter how they look. Doesn't matter if their chest is big or small or whatever. If you like someone, you like someone. He's so close. Because what he just said, it's like, I didn't mind that. I didn't care. And it's like, so why do you think other people would care so much? Even if you do perceive yourself and think that's true that you're ugly. Like, apply that same thing to yourself. He's so close in certain ways to actually having a healthy outlook.
I don't even know why I'm telling you all this, but I just said, you want to come
It's
to the
good.
fair?
It's good that you're telling. And I think, like, he did like her, right? But I think perhaps in the awful way that he said it and manipulated it, tried to manipulate the situation to his benefit. I get the impression he clearly liked her before the pictures went around, but he perceived himself to have absolutely no chance, so he just never asked her out at all. Do you know what I mean? And to his mind, to his young mind, it's like, okay, she's been beaten down. Maybe I've got a shot. But it's like, that's what I mean. I feel like he did like her before that too. So it's like, this is what I mean. He's been driven by genuine things, authentic emotions, but it's all been packaged, and there's, like I say, insecurity in not having asked her out before. But it's like, where does that come from? Where does the lack of confidence come from? It comes from this 80-20 rule. She's out of my league. He's been taught to think that he's ugly, so he has no self-worth, no confidence, and look where it's getting him. Look how it's making him behave. It's made him behave in a really emotionally manipulative way, insinuating himself in a way that he's almost trying to take out what he is. He's trying to take advantage of her vulnerable position, which isn't good. Like, if that's how you see the world, that's not good. But all of that came about because of this insecurity and clearly the way that he has been driven to be as a human.
She just laughed and said, oh, I'm not that desperate.
Yeah, and that's mean.
You think she's a bully?
Looking for validation in her.
I had a knife. I could have touched any part of her body I wanted to. I really wanted to, but I didn't.
Oh God, that's so scary.
Most boys would have touched her.
Isn't that scary? Yeah.
So that makes me better.
Ooh, no.
Don't you think?
No, it's not about better or worse, mate. It's this thing in it of like, if men do the bare minimum of not touching a woman without her consent, you're a good guy. It's like, no, you're the bare minimum. You're at 0, mate. That's not a good thing, or but like, you're at 0. That's absolutely the baseline of where you need to be. Her horror in the expression. God. This is the state of boys. How they've been taught. And after all that, he just picks up his sandwich and eats. Casual. This is a horrifying episode.
Do you understand that Katie's gone and she can't come back? That whatever claims you make as to her character...
Don't justify it.
Jamie, this is our last session.
Why?
Whatever happens next is take advantage of any mental health services.
Yeah.
And then you come back. You see me.
Unfortunately, I'm needed.
I mean, look at this, right? He's like, I don't know why I said all that. I'm just tired. But what is that? Is opening up. She's been effective in actually getting him to open up. To the point that, you know, she's doing her job in assessing him for what she needs to assess. But what is that to him from his perspective? He's got someone here that he can actually talk to. Express these things that are eating him up inside, I think. These things that he needs to talk about but doesn't feel like he can. And he is with her. And I think that's where the panic is coming from, that she's like, this is my last session. And it's also why she's saying, I encourage you to, take up any mental health services, because God, this kid needs to talk to people, not just her. But to him, he's so desperate, I feel like, to keep her, because the idea of anyone that he can possibly open himself up to is such a foreign concept to him. I can't imagine he talks like this to anyone, really.
Do you like me?
Before she says anything, she knows in this moment that whatever she says is so impactful to how he goes forward in life. He's so vulnerable. And I don't even think when he asked that question, despite how I talked about it earlier on, I don't think he even means it in a romantic way. I just think he means, do you like me as a person? Because I don't think he feels like, we've seen it this episode. He thinks people see him as ugly. His experience with Katie reinforced, validated that. The feeling of him feeling ugly and worthless. What did we see last episode? Ryan asked him, were you popular? Were you popular though? Were you popular with girls? That's all that matters in their world. And if they don't have that, they don't feel valuable. Right. That's how Jamie feels. He doesn't feel popular. He feels ugly. People don't want him. People don't like him. That's his world. Do you like me? He's found this connection. He's found this person who he can open up with, at least from what I've seen, my interpretation of this. I don't think he has this. I don't think he opens up to anybody. I think that panicking when she said this is our last session reflects all of that too. And I feel like as a result of that, he needs to know, considering he opened up to her, that's why he's asking the question. It's so important. That's so important to him. But that's what I mean. She understands everything that I just said. I think she understands that. And I don't think from her perspective, she can just say at this point, I've got to go. Thank you for your time. I'm going to go and not answer the question. It's so important, actually, I feel like. Even if she doesn't want to, and I don't think she does want to. I don't think it's not even a question of whether she likes him or not, right? It doesn't even come into the conversation. I think she's scared. I think she's horrified of him, by him, how he is. I think she also feels intensely sorry for him. I think she recognizes how in need he is. I think the last thing she wants to do is say like, yes, but I think she has to. Beautifully acted by her. She's awesome. And him, sorry, both of them. Like, yeah, look at that. That I can't get out of this and I need to answer. That little indecisiveness on her face, you can see it all.
I was here as a professional.
Because I like you. Not like that, not fancying you.
Yeah, no, I believe you, mate.
Don't you dare!
Oh, man.
Don't you even like me a bit!
Yeah, let me revise what I just said, because she didn't. I think she knows that she needed to, but she can't. As a professional in this situation, that's fair. And God, we heard the rain again, and what have we got? We got another blow up, yeah. He needs that validation. He's begging. He's desperate for it. Yeah, buddy. Hey, you did a great job. Yeah. It's horrifying. The place he's in and the places that he's got himself and all of the ways in which he chose to answer and what it shows. This This is exactly... This is how I feel about it, yeah. Yeah, you don't need to say a word, mate. This is beautiful acting. Yeah.
God.
It's disgusting. Yeah, and I think in her leaving the sandwich, I don't think she wanted to answer that she liked him or anything like that. I just think there was a recognition in the effect that her answer or lack of answer was going to have. I think honestly she was scared by him. Not necessarily by him, but how he is. I think there was disgust there. I think the way that she picked up the sandwich, the fact that he's eaten a bite of it, and the kind of, she picked it up to take it and then thought better of it. She couldn't even do it. She kind of shivered and like, oh, no, like disgust. She's so disturbed by him. Fairly validly so. Yeah, I think lingering on that last image there, the empty room, the sandwich left, she couldn't even take it. Really just reflects the latent horror. What a horrifying episode. There was so much this episode to kind of comb through. So I'm going to keep this really, really short, but a beautiful, beautiful episode. Like I say, so full of horror and disgust and just, God, it leaves you speechless. I think brilliant performances from everybody. The kid, Jamie, absolutely. But from her, she was a powerhouse, man. And that last, finally he leaves and she's allowed to be human again. And that emotion comes out. She can't bring herself to take this thing that Jamie's marked, almost, the sandwich. God, I'm stuck with that line, that thing that Jamie said of, I didn't even touch her though, lots of boys would. God, that's horrible. That's horrible. Yeah, God, I'm just going to leave it there. Great episode. If you enjoyed this, please do subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff down below. We will be doing Adolescence until we're done every Wednesday. So yeah, thank you genuinely to my patrons, my YouTube members. There are some links down in the description below for early access if you can't wait for the next one. All that said and done, what a great show. But yeah, we'll be back next week for the last episode. I'm very curious to see where we'll go. I did say at one point that I don't think he did do it. I think he did. I think he's fooled himself. Right, I think he's trying to justify it in his head. I mean, he did say that he had the knife in her presence. I think that's kind of confirmation that he did. But, yeah. So I'm so sorry. I said bye. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. So until then, be good. I'll see you soon.